In this video, I want to do something a little different and a little bit fun. Or at least I hope it's fun for most of you. And it follows an artistic spin, and it can bring a lot of enjoyment and positive vibes. And so I'm going to talk about snail mail, or what we used to call just writing letters. Now, with the advent of email and social media, you don't often see letters in the mailbox anymore. You'll see a lot of bills or ads or various flyers for things. But it's really unusual for most people to actually go find a letter from a friend or relative or whatever. However, there has been a new surge in snail mail, pen pals, people writing to each other, doing mystery pen pals or finding things in common. There's all kinds of ways they're connecting up. I'm connected up with a group on social media, and I'm really enjoying it. And so I thought I would do a video that pertains a little bit to something like that. Now, I'm going to leave it up to those of you out there viewing this to find your own method of finding people to write to, because I don't feel qualified to tell you who to write to. Can be a relative, can be a stranger, could be a friend, could be someone in the hospital. People who are going through a hard time probably would really enjoy a letter. And I'll let you figure out what you want to write in your letters, because the letters I get and the letters I write cover so many topics. There's no one topic that fits all. So, I want to talk about making envelopes. Some of the mail I get is in a beautiful, colorful envelopes, or the people do art on the envelopes, and there is some really good artists out there. And so I thought I would cover making just some basic paper envelopes. Now, you do not have to go to a hobby store and get something like this. You can use sale flyers. You can use newspaper, anything that's tough enough to fold and put a letter in and mail without falling apart real easy should be suitable. I got this pack because some of the people I write to are really into like Victorian patterns and stuff. And for $10.99, 80 sheets, that's at least 80 envelopes for me. That's a really good bargain. All I got to do is put a little labor into it. So what you'll need is some sort of paper, something to cut with, something to hold the envelope together. Now, this is regular tape. This is double-sided tape if you want to risk using that. I have a terrible luck with this. I tend to get it everywhere. You'll probably need, if you're using a patterned paper, you may need to get a label so that the post office can read your writing. Let's see here. Here's some example of some envelopes I made already, and I used glue. I'm not going to cover glue in this video too much because I am a very messy crafter, and I really don't want to do that on video. But if you want to use glue, that's fine. Double-sided tape works about the same. You stick it down, put it on there. I have another way I'm going to try to use for sealing these from now on. That's a lot less labor, and I really like that one a lot, although I have to be careful where I put the label on. And I have different sizes. I did some playing around with shapes, and I tore apart some old envelopes. If you get a bill in the mail, it makes a beautiful pattern for a what do you call number 10 envelope. This poor bill didn't get much attention except for the envelope. I also played around with the scraps and made some small envelopes, which I can stick stuff like this in and send to the pen pals or relatives. I have a cousin who I'd like to write to and maybe send these to, and they fit right in these little envelopes. And so I don't waste any scrap. I can seal it up, put it inside a letter, and the letter is extra special. And I'm going to put that aside. Now, here's my long number 10 size envelope made from this paper. And the paper, you can see, is a little bit like what comes out of a printer. It's not very heavy. I do have some heavier papers, but I think it'll cause the postage to go up, so I'm not going to mess with that. If you notice some of these corners I have with the little almost lacy appearance on them, that's done with these little corner cutters. Now, I recommend if you're going to get one of these to shop around. I have seen them anywhere from $3.99 all the way up to like $12 and $13, and it's the exact same cutter. So, you know, if you're trying to be budget-wise, this is something you may want to look around about. Same with these labels. Depends on what store you get them. Some of them are pretty cheap and some of them are not. I do find the Avery brand has about the best sticky stuff on the back. Sometimes if you go too cheap, you don't get enough sticky and it comes right off. So, enough about that. I am going to show you how to basically make one. Now, I have made some templates out of, like I say, torn apart envelopes. I've taken suggestions where people have said online to curve these in and some things like that, and created patterns. You can see where I draw on the paper. I've made so many attempts and made so many bad envelopes, you wouldn't believe it. And the scrap, and it makes a mess. It can be messy, but it's also a lot of fun. Now this is a little bit smaller than the standard letter size, and I think this is closer, because I used a torn up envelope for this one, it's actually closer to what you would buy in size. But I wanted to be able to leave enough of the area of the paper left that I could also make mini envelopes. In order to do that, I had to make this smaller. So let me demonstrate. I think this is a beautiful envelope paper, and it just, I think anybody who gets a letter from that would be very happy. Alright, so I line this up, and I don't want a lot of scrap, because like I say, any scrap left over can be repurposed for other things. And why waste, you know? So what I do is I line this up kind of with the edges. That makes two edges that I don't have to cut. And then I just draw around. My patterns aren't perfect. When I put them together, sometimes the envelope is not perfect rectangles, but it's very hard to notice. And you can tweak with your envelopes to get them the way you want them. There. And this is also one that's easiest to cut out. The other pattern makes a lot more mess, but it's also nicer for smaller mail. And depending on where you're at when you're watching this, I don't know if your post office will have any regulations that say your envelopes have to be a certain size. Where I'm at in the U.S., there are some envelope criteria, but it usually has to do with the price of the postage and less about what you can actually mail. You can probably send a round letter and they wouldn't care, but they're going to probably ask for a different postage than what your standard number 10 or this letter size, I'm not sure what that's called in that size, would cost. I'm just going to cut this and then refine it after I get out, because trying to hold it under the camera, my hand shakes too much. Okay. And like I say, they're not going to be absolutely perfect necessarily, but they should work to hold letters. If you're going to put glitter in, which is something I don't intend to ever do, you may have to opt for maybe making a liner or something for your envelopes. And you can line these. If I was going to line them, which I'm not, because that means extra postage, and postage is high enough as it is. Keep that scrap. I just put them in here and use them later. If you want to make a liner, I would say use a pattern like this. maybe cut it slightly smaller and fold it inside. I don't know, it's up to you, because like I say, I'm not going to mess with liners, at least not right now. So fold the tabs in straight as you can. I don't know what that was. Something fell. It's probably my other pair of scissors. I had 2 pairs of scissors going, but I just kept forgetting where I put one of them, and they'd be under my tablet. I find pinching the corners first makes it much easier to fold the flaps over. Okay. I think this one's going to come out pretty good. And now most of the envelopes I see in copy have a slightly curved in edge here. Not really sure why that is. It's probably something to do with manufacturing. Okay, my camera closed off, so I have to start again. I hope I didn't miss too much. I hope you were able to see me folding this. And in case it cut off before I said so, most of the envelopes you see have a slight curve in on this bottom flap, but it doesn't curve in so far that you can't glue them. Now if I was going to use double-sided tape, which I will for this one, there I did it. Did what I said I would probably do, and that's make a tangled mess. I just am not graceful. Okay, now you don't want to put it in a way that it adheres to this, or you lose some of your space for your letter. And there you go. That holds. That's not my preferred method, but like I say, it's one of the options. Now, you can either do this before or after you put your letter, and I recommend before. Just makes it easier, because you got a flat surface. You can make a nice crease. There you go. Now, most of the time I was gluing it, and what I would do now, since I kind of like to shorten the steps and make it so I can make more of these, is after I put the letter in, instead of gluing all that, I would just take tape or some other, like washi tape, and just put it across here. It'll hold it closed and hold everything together, and it'll save you a lot of effort. Here's the address side, I mean. And if you use one of these on it, you can put the name and address there, and it doesn't matter that the pattern may be light or dark or whatever. It works in the machines. So anyway, that's about all I can say about this little idea I thought you might enjoy. And if you get involved in pen paling, I think you'll find it a fun pastime, encouraging. You get to meet other people with similar likes. You have a good evening, and I'll see you in the next video.